Anyway, it's actually usefully happened along. I'm suffering from a bit of choice paralysis. Here.
She practically flings the hefty book into my arms. I'd be lying if I said it didn't knock the wind out of me a little.
Pick something in that book. It doesn't matter what, as long as it's a baked pastry.
I examined the book cover. It's entitled The Globe-Trotting Confectioner. It claims to have recipes from all over the world. Upon flipping through the pages, however, it becomes clear it's mostly Japanese and Western European pastries. There's still a fantastic variety nonetheless. I want to make... Oh my goodness. Well, you did say you wanted cupcakes this morning, man. What else is on here? We've got taiyaki, matcha Swiss roll cake, nama chocolate, anmitsu, miso butter cookies, strawberry shortcake, hanami dango. I don't even know what some of these are. Also, they definitely made Natsuki shorter. Cupcakes. I was craving cupcakes this morning after all. Can we try the chocolate cupcakes?
Hell yeah, we can. I'm an absolute pro when it comes to cupcakes. Watch and learn, kiddo.
After preheating the oven to 350 degrees and melting the butter and oil, the pink-haired girl gets to work sifting together the flour, baking soda, salt, and cocoa powder.
Yo, I'm gonna beat together the butter mixture with the dry stuff. Can you crack an egg in there while I do that?
She uses a hand mixer to beat the ingredients together in a stainless steel bowl. As she does so, she watches me closely as I handle the egg. Delicately, I tap the eggshell against the edge of the bowl, forming a barely perceptible crack, before using my fingers to spread the newly bisected egg, releasing the yolk into the newly forming batter without any shell. The girl looks away, trying to hide her expression of surprise. She continues beating the mixture while I pour in the buttermilk and vanilla extract. Once the batter resembles a smooth, dark brown ooze, the pink-haired girl takes a rubber spatula and uses it to scrape the batter into each of the dozen liners in the cupcake pan. All that's left to do is stick the pan into the oven. She breathes a satisfied exhale as the preheated oven gets to work on baking her concoction.
This is gonna be damn good!
I am left to awkwardly stand, wondering what to do next.
Right? Time to clean up! Since us bakers have the most idle time, it falls to us to clean up after everyone else! Come on!
The long dish disposal sink located at the outer end of the classroom is piled high with pots, pans, utensils, and cooking sheets, with more flowing in at a steady rate. The pink-haired girl and I get to work at opposite ends of the sink, scrubbing burnt remnants, oily residue, and other such unappetizing detritus from the filthy steelwork. As I'm putting my entire, admittedly not very impressive upper body strength into scraping away the remains of a failed frying job on a cast iron pan, it becomes increasingly apparent that she's a lot faster at this than I am. I'm still at my end of the sink, while the girl slowly inches her way closer to me, seemingly unaware of her position as she rapidly runs out of work on her own side. It's only when we inadvertently touch shoulders that...
Oi! Stay on your side, blockhead!
She stares at my distressed expression of disbelief for a second before she quickly assesses her surroundings, a blush forming on her face as she realizes her error. But she quickly bounces back.
Christ, how slow are you? It'd be just the same to me if you weren't here at all.
I stare down at my gloved hands in the pan and sponge they're holding, unable to stomach her disapproving scowl. She sighs frustratedly and continues.
Let's switch sides. More dishes are starting to come in at that end.
I do as the girl commands, giving her a wide berth as I trade places with her to the other side of the sink. We continue cleaning without further incident until... everyone vanished. We hear beeping sounds coming from the oven containing her creation. The air smells thickly of chocolate as we approach the oven, tempting us ever closer with the promise of lovely sweet sugar. Said aroma only grows stronger after the pink-haired girl swings the oven door open, blasting our faces with a rush of heat and mouth-watering sweetness. Cupcakes! Wow!
Well, hello there, my lovelies.
She breathes in deeply, using her hands to coax the aroma into her nostrils like chefs always do in TV shows. There it is, the results of our labor. Let's be honest, the results of her labor. I didn't do anything. If these cupcakes end up being at all decent, it'll be because of her. And if not, it'll be because of me. I'm sorry, pink-haired stranger. Sorry you need to carry this dead weight, but this will only be for another hour or so. After that, you'll never have to put up with...
Yo, let's get these bitches all frosted up!
She slips on a pair of mittens and extricates the pan from the oven as I close it behind her. Thankfully, the pantry came stocked with pre-made buttermilk cake frosting. The pink-haired girl and I each scrape a can of it into our respective piping bags. We each pipe the frosting onto separate cupcakes, though hers are obviously more elegant, resembling a lovely upside-down tornado, while mine look more like they were hit by a tornado. With each cupcake thusly frosted upon, the girl takes a bag of multicolored sprinkles and dusts with them each of the white frosting piles until... voila! Not only does it smell great, it's also cute as all hell. Chocolate cake with buttermilk frosting is a tried and true combo, and the sprinkles add that extra flair for presentation. It's picture perfect, like it came straight out of the cookbook's photos. Hell, even better than that. With how gorgeous the cupcakes look, it's... Hey, monologues. Everyone's always cramping my monologues. It seems almost a shame to.
Yo, you gonna keep eye-fucking the cupcake, or are you gonna eat one?
God, I hate Fan and Foul-Mouth Notsky. The pink-haired girl's colorful imagery snaps me out of my brain tangent, and I notice she's already halfway through her own cupcake. I didn't even pay attention to her reaction. She takes another bite of her cupcake, staring me down with a furrowed brow. I come to the somewhat bold conclusion that she's given me permission to try a cupcake myself. I notice her eyeing me up as I gingerly take one of the cakes into both hands. Is she studying my reaction? I bite into it. As expected, the chocolate cake is soft and full of sweet flavor, and the creamy buttermilk frosting perfectly complements the base and enhances the texture. The sprinkles even lend their own contribution to the texture, adding tiny little crunches that give the otherwise smooth softness and more varied mouthfeel.
Huh! You know, if you want to keep up this gloomy, evil persona, you'll have to work on your poker face.
It's amazing. My eyes are damn near tearing up from the flavor.
Well, yeah, I am the best after all.
The two of us enjoy the rest of our cupcake in silence. Before long, one of the instructors passes by and retrieves a cupcake for herself. The pink-haired girl wears an expression of anticipation, notably lacking any sort of trepidation. Her confidence is proven to be well-founded.
Excellent work as usual. Though the frosting hides it, I could nonetheless tell the surface was cracked due to uneven baking. But I'm sure we can chalk that up to outside interference.
The instructor glances in my direction as she says this. I look away to the floor, hiding my face in shame. I'm sorry.
I don't care to make excuses, ma'am. The real world is going to have all sorts of outside interference. Just gotta get used to it.
A commendable attitude. Japan needs more young ladies with a sense of duty such as yours. As for you, young gentleman without the proper papers, get your act together.
The instructor strides towards the next student with long, imperious steps, leaving his words to stew. A moment passes before I inhale deeply and dare to look the girl in the eye.
Grown-ups are just the worst, aren't they?
She wasn't wrong. I probably messed something up along the way. I'm sorry.
Oh, shut the hell up!
I promptly do as the pink-haired girl commands. She produces 2 plastic containers from a drawer, placing 5 of the cupcakes inside of it and sealing it with a lid. She inserts the filled container in her backpack, taking care not to jostle it so as not to smush the frosting. And once again, they all just vanished. And that signals the end of class. Home economics proved to be just as fun as I thought, for the most part anyway. I sling my backpack over my shoulders and turn to silently leave the... Hold on! The classroom only to be...
Yo!
This time, her outburst was audible to the entire class shuffling out the door. Some turn to look, but most continue on.
You just gonna leave your half of the cupcakes?
My face reddens, and I scramble to say something half-coherent. No, I couldn't possibly.
Didn't I just tell you to shut the hell up?
With a look of frustration and disappointment on her face, she aggressively throws down the remaining 4 cupcakes into the second container before sealing it up. She thrusts the container into my face. For some reason, neither of us can look the other in the eye as I hesitantly accept it and stuff it into my backpack. The pink-haired girl and I are the last ones out the door behind the surging tide of estrogen. I can't remember if hesitantly... No, I'm pretty sure it is supposed to be an A. I can't remember if it had 2 E's, but it probably is an A. As I make my way to the mathematics classroom, I notice that the pink-colored thing at my side is still at my side. Why are you following me?
Presumptuous much? I'm not following you, dummy. I'm headed to mathematics next, which happens to be this way.
I'm also heading to mathematics.
Oh, for fuck's... don't tell me we share this class, too!
Calculus?
Jesus Christ, you fucking nerd! Name's Natsuki!
I'm Hallie.
I know! See you around, princess!
What a strange girl. Can't tell if she likes me or hates me, which is bothersome because I'm usually good at picking up on these things. I think it's safer to err on the side if she hates me. This isn't going to make the walk to school any less awkward. I heft my backpack and feel the weight of the cupcakes inside of it. Still, maybe she is nice after all. As I ponder this, I come face to face with the door of the calculus classroom. As I enter the classroom, I can't help but notice all the different kids sitting here. They're only 2 or 3 years older than me, but they look so tall and self-assured. Just as she said, Kazori is here as well. She notices me as I close the classroom door behind me. She smiles sweetly and waves at me. My cheeks flush a little as I wave back. Oh, fuck. In the back. That's the girl from the library. Just as she was then, she's totally engrossed in what she's reading, thank goodness. I check the seating chart and find that I actually have a window seat in this class. Yes! Too bad this is a class I actually need to pay attention in. A skinny old man in a plaid blazer comes hobbling to the front of the classroom. He places a textbook down on the podium ever so gently, before stopping in place and taking a deep breath. Is this old man okay? It's yet another ranter. Alright, we're just let him go until the history is available again. He's going. He's going. He's going. He's getting that whole lesson out in one go, eh? Nice. Very efficient. I was just... Is this old man okay? Is he about to pass... A derivative in calculus is the rate of change of quantity y with respect to another quantity x. It is also termed the differential coefficient of y with respect to x. Differentiation is the process of finding the derivative of a function. The derivative of a function of f of x is usually represented by ddx, but what its derivative technically mean? Consider a curve of function fx and let 2 points on it be x, fx, and the slope of the secant line through these points is given by scribbles furiously in this graph. Observe that when the distance between 2 points is closely equal to 0, i.e. as h approaches 0, the second point overlaps the original point, and the second line becomes the tangent line. In the calculus, the slope of the tangent line is referred to as the derivative of the function. In other words, the derivative of the function, the slope of the tangent line is popularly known as the limit definition of the derivatives, or derivative by using the first principle. Derivative of the function of x in path is literally by f, but it's actually interpreted as follows. The derivative of a function at a point and is the slope of the tangent drawn to the curve at that point. It also represents the instantaneous rate of change at a point of the function. The velocity of a particle is found by finding the derivative of the function. The derivatives are used to optimize by either maximizing or minimizing a function. Now, how far we got? Okay. They are also used to find the intervals where the function is increasing, decreasing, as well as the intervals where the function is concave up or down. Thus, whenever we see the phrases like... This goes on for the next 2 hours, with the instructor speaking with the speed and vigor of a man 1/4 of his age. I struggle to keep up the whole time. When the school bell finally sounds, it feels like I can actually breathe again. I fish the homework I completed yesterday out of my bag and place it in the pile on the instructor's desk. He offers a friendly, though weak nod. Seems the class is just as exhausting for him as it is for me. Which is actually quite impressive on his part, given his age. As I gather all my things and zip up my backpack, I'm left to wonder. How should I spend my lunch break? Oh gosh. Well, there. Finally, I am returned to the sanctuary of fiction. The indoor heating and smell of pages and ink greet me with a warm hug. The only thing that'd make this better is some tea or maybe hot chocolate, but I mustn't get greedy. I head over to the fiction section of the library, stand on my tiptoes, I check and double check to make sure I got the numbering right. And sure enough, Beneath a Crimson Moon has been returned to its original place on the shelves. I reach up and retrieve it, from its lofty seat amidst its fellows in fiction. Let's see what happened when last we left off, rather. Ah, yes. We started on a lecture about the nature of reality as explained by quantum theory, and why it's nonsense, along with its two different implications, quantum superposition and the many worlds theory. The setting is Toronto University in Canada, where the lecture is taking place, and also where we find our protagonist in the midst of it. Enter Hana Mizaki, a Japanese PhD student whose parents are totally loaded. She's got loads of baggage, relating to her own autonomy and capabilities as one expects from this archetype. She appears thoroughly disillusioned with Canadian society, remarking on the strange prevalence of PA systems throughout the campus. Is that actually a thing in Canada, or is this some kind of dystopian alternate reality world building? Man, the way things are going in Canada, it honestly could be. Apparently, she has a roommate named Lillian, who, for whatever reason, she seems very reluctant to return to. She smells iron and dread in the air, and on that cliffhanger I return. Thank you for not subjecting me to more of the book. Ah, that purple girl is back again. Like before, she's completely oblivious to my presence, lost as she is between the pages. I suppose I ought to regard her as one of the furniture from now on. I drag a chair out from underneath the table as quietly as possible so as not to break her spell. Okay, no, we do have to read. Open Beneath the Crimson Moon and continue on from where I last left off. I read a whole damn novel in their visual novel, man. Lillian, I called out as I stepped gingerly inside. The lights were off, I repeated. Lillian. There was Lillian, still sitting at her desk upon her office chair seat, just as I had left her. There was Lillian, finally asleep after probably yet another all-nighter, her computer monitor the only source of light on her pallid face. There was Lillian, with the room light switched on, mouth agape in her slumber, still clothed in that black hoodie she hadn't changed out of in probably 2 days at least. There was Lillian, with her sleeves rolled up, waving streaks of open red across the lengths of her wrists. There was Lillian, whose chair sat upon a carpet saturated in crimson life. There was a stack of meat and bones just where I had left her. With a trembling hand, I retrieved my phone from my pocket, dialed 911, told the operator the address, room number, situation, vomited on the carpet, coughed and retched, cried, ignored the operator's instructions to stay calm, hung up, and vomited again. At least this time it was in the toilet. I waited in the bathroom, not wanting to be in the same room as my roommate's corpse. I left the door unlocked, and by the time the paramedics arrived, I'd bet I didn't look much better than Lillian. The third time I retched, all that came up were gastric juices. Did Lillian Blanche have a history of drug use? No, I answered truthfully, the policewoman, seated on the stairs alongside her before the entrance of the Gravely Hall. Did Lillian suffer from suicidal thoughts or actions, or engage in self-harming behaviors? Yes, she did, I answered, again truthfully, but that's exactly why we didn't keep any sharp objects anywhere in the dorm. No pocket knives, no razors, nothing. The policewoman smiled and nodded understandingly. But is it possible that she managed to hide something like that on her person? Something she could have used to harm herself? I don't know, I stuttered, my voice shaking. Maybe? My red and puffy eyes were glued to the pavement at the bottom of the stairs. But why are you asking me this? I questioned, voice cracking. Aren't you police investigating the scene? Shouldn't you know if she managed to hide something on her? The officer shifted uncomfortably in her seat before answering. Details of the investigation will not be disclosed at this time in the interest of preserving the victim's privacy. The victim? I suddenly exclaimed. Are you saying she was... It's a generic term, the officer quickly clarified. She then sat up straight and spoke onwards. I'm sorry to pull this card on you at a time like this, miss, but I am the one asking the questions. I looked back down, hugging my knees close to my chest. In all honesty, this is the first time I've ever been questioned by the police, so I don't actually know what the proper procedure is. But it was incredibly off-putting. It is the only way I can describe it. Being kept in the dark as to the details on my own roommate's death. My own friend whom I cared about, and didn't even know how much I cared about her until now. I was always such a bitch to her. Finally, the tears began to roll down my face as the policewoman continued questioning me, her voice fading into the blur of uniformed bodies and flashing lights as my own voice operated on autopilot. What if I'd just been nicer to her, soft prodding her about her future, getting on her case about staying up too late, bitching at her about her student loans, faulting her for never being on top of her coursework in a timely manner? Could something have been different? If I just listened to her? If I just tried to understand? I never once gave an ounce of thought to her bizarre conspiracy theories and stories about stalkers and cryptids in the night. What if she just wanted to be heard? I felt sick to my stomach as the policewoman rose from her seat and left me alone on the stairs. Misaki Entertainment, PhDs, multinational business deals, fucking arcades and casinos. What the fuck does any of that even matter? Lillian is dead and it's my fault, and I'll never be able to make it right. Never, never, never. Never. You don't actually know that it was your fault.